It's week 6 and it's day 2, so that means we're going to be heading over to Europe to see exactly how the SPL is going to be taking shape there. Obviously, it started today. We're going to be joined by Anatoliy for the first of today, which is Leftovers versus Fnatic. And both these two teams, you know, a bit of a rocky path so far.
A little bit of a struggle between both these two teams. Leftovers currently 4-8. That's the next set. Torpedo. Fnatic currently 5-11. So a little bit of struggle in the first half of the season. Luckily for them, second half is going to be a very big factor for them.
Well, let's see where they are in the standings right now, and you can actually see where Fnatic's sat at 5th position right now. Leftovers, after a great start to the season with wins over Hungry for More and a good performance against Powerthera, even though they did lose it, they have slipped down to 7th now and are starting to struggle here.
The one advantage that Leftovers has right now is that they're 2 games under 500, whereas Fnatic is 2 games over 500. So more favoring Leftovers for the rest of the half of the season.
So a little bit about Leftovers as well. From what we understand in the first game today, we're going to be seeing Jungler and Cherryo have actually switched roles. Cherryo heading back to the jungle again, and the guy called Jungler is now playing mid.
Yeah, that's a little awkward, right? But anyway, we do have a lot of experience for Cherryo in the jungler position, playing that in Season 2, leaning more towards the Naja specifically, but he's definitely a role that he's familiar with.
Definitely familiar with it. Started off in the support role originally, then transferred with Cringe Crew into the jungle. Had a good performance at the Super Regionals late last year as well with the Naja, as we said. That was the first iteration we really saw this Naja-Scylla combination that worked out well for them.
Yeah, he's the strategist of the team, so I'm believing that he's the one that kind of originated that for his team. They've been practicing it, they're very comfortable with it, and that's why they've been running it very consistently, even when he swapped to middle.
Do you expect it this game as well, maybe? Even with the role switch?
I could see that because Fnatic also leans a little bit towards the Naja, so there's definitely going to be a Naja pick or ban early stages.
Well, let's go into picks and bans and see exactly if that happens.
Jungler whipping the ult, but the snipe is even better. Cherryo. Really pumping up the damage barrier, taking too much damage.
Nice,
Nika's
Nika.
in, however, be able to confirm that kill. The root is out. Nika gets that double kill. Great rotation.
And here we go. Fnatic will be first pick in this game as well. I talk about bans first of all here as well, Anatoliy. We've seen a lot of Khepri from Fnatic. They've banned it every single game they've been involved in, unless the other team has done it against them. Why is that?
Khepri is very annoying to deal with in the duo lane, especially when you have Realzx that wants to make plays, and you can't really make plays against the Khepri. It's very difficult. He does the Rising Dawn, the damage reduction, very difficult to deal with. That's why Realzx wants to make those plays.
Well, first of all, we'll see Badgah taken out by Fnatic as well. More than likely, we'll see a Khepri as well, unless Leftovers do decide to try and leave that one up and not use it themselves. If they've done that scouting, they should leave Khepri up though, right?
Yes, Khepri is still up, but look at that. Naja right away off the table. Both Fnatic, Jifffy, and Leftovers Cherryo wants this pick, but it's not allowed for either of them.
Really wise of them to take it away from him early on. Guan Yu as well. So Fnatic going away from tradition so far and not banning Khepri this game. Will Leftovers do it, or will we see BigManTingz take that god?
It's very possible. I'm leaning more towards a potential Athena first pick coming up Fnatic if that's open. With the Khepri ban, Athena is open. That could be an option. Unless they're going to lean towards the Thor in the jungle. That's another good global presence that Fnatic has an option for.
I'm thinking about that more. Jifffy realistically only played Naja and Thor so far this season, so probably they will go with the Thor here, you expect?
Yeah, with Naja off the table, Thor was his next go-to pick that we've seen statistically in the SPL, so maybe a Thor pick.
Also, Athena has been picked up once or twice by Fnatic, and then we've seen it in a flex position. But talk about flex position, that's what they've gone with Sol.
Yeah, Realzx specifically with Zyrhoes lean more on their flex potential with Sol, with Neith, with Chronos. Right now we have the Sol, Neith, and Chronos are still available for them to flex.
So in the jungle then, we're going to be seeing Cherryo again today. Leftovers have the option of 2 picks here. I expect to see them look for some prominent picks, and Ho Yi in the Hunter role will be picked up for them. Apollo's still available though.
Apollo is still available with the throwing dagger change. Hu Yi rises a little bit above Apollo for that reason. It's easier to clear the back camps, get to lane first with Hu Yi over Apollo. Now if throwing dagger was available, then Apollo would have that slight advantage.
Leftovers will also lock in Hun back to the jungle, so no Thor for them. They're going to go for a safe area control god here.
Yeah, you can't really neglect the huge AoE CC that Batz provides to the team. In fact, when the Batz initiates, he can blink in, initiate, and still jump out to safety. So this is still a very safe pick for Leftovers.
Well, will we see Fnatic go towards Thor then now, knowing that that's already been locked in? Answered already.
Yeah,
Didn't even need you
there's
to.
your answer right there. Thor has been locked in for Fnatic. Jifffy going to be playing that. We'll see what this next pick is. I'm thinking it might be another flex pick for Fnatic, unless they want to play super safe and pick up Athena here before the 3rd, 4th bans come out.
Athena, not really a bad call, considering you could look for more global rotations there. You got Athena, Thor, great for that situation as well. And with Sol still being a flex, leaves the Hunter up for grabs, which means leftovers may have to focus that. Fnatic are going to take all their time, and finally it's going to be the Neith lock in here.
Yeah, so we don't really know where these two gods between Sol and Neith are going, and this is the beauty of having these flex picks, because the enemy doesn't know, they can't really predict, so they have to be prepared for both situations, and sometimes you just can't be.
So if you're leftovers here, what are you scared about facing off in mid against? Are you scared more of Thor Sol or Thor Neith?
More likely, I'm scared of Thor Neith. If you get stunned by the Thor into the root by the Neith, and if you're a god in the mid lane, like Ra, for example, that doesn't have an escape, you're going to be punished. So right now, they're going to have to play a mobile god in mid. Giannis is open, specifically Scylla is open.
Well, we mentioned the jungler for leftovers is actually playing mid lane this game, and we've not seen much of him in the mid lane before, so he's going to have big shoes to fill with Cherryo there, and he's going to be up against Zyrhoes and Jifffy, and if it is going to be Thor Neith, it could be an issue.
Yeah, and right away, we do see the Scylla. It's a very safe pick against the Thor Neith or the Thor Sol, so good pick from leftovers picking up the Scylla.
Why is Scylla so safe?
Well, you can use your 3rd ability to escape from any sort of danger. You have the CC immune ulti as well, which gives you a movement speed increase, and it's a lot of damage as well. If the Thor Neith engage, you have a lot of counter engage damage on top of that.
Good call about the Armor Monster with the mobility. A lot of people underestimate how much that mobility really impacts the fight and actually helping you get away or even reinitiate as well. Bans coming through, Geb from leftovers and Tyr from Fnatic in response there. Guess they're going to see maybe another support ban focus again. It will be Sylvanas again, so full focus here. They've left Athena up though.
Interestingly enough, the Sylvanas ban, we haven't really seen Fnatic play Sylvanas this season. Maybe they've been practicing during the bye week and leftovers have been doing their homework. We do see the Athena ban for Fnatic. So Big Man has been playing Kumbhakarna.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I think Kumbhakarna will probably be his go-to here, and I don't think how strong Badgers is. Now, this is a talking point as well. Badgah, this is his old team. He's not faced against them yet so far this season, and Badgah will be having a point to prove here, and he's going to go with a god that, you know, he made a name for himself on now and again for Fnatic with Ares, but his team know how to deal with that, surely.
And this is really good pickup here because if Ares forces the early purification, this allows the Humbats to follow up and allowing Scylla to follow up with her damage as well.
And Kumbhakarna, not too bad of a pick against Ares, honestly. You can yawn to stop the Searing Flesh as well. Even the Groggy Strike to stop him be able to chase down with the chains, at least onto your carry's sake as well. Will be Bellona for the solo lane for maniaKK. Not a real surprise there, one of his major go-tos. Where will we see BigManTingz go?
Now, if he does go Kumbhakarna, he also has the CC immune ulti for the Ares if he times it efficiently enough. Looking like
the old days of that was so much easier because Ares ults, and while he's hovering, you can time your ultimate to hit him and knock him straight up in the air. It's a little bit more difficult.
There we go, the Kumbhakarna pick, as you mentioned.
It's like we know this game, totally.
It's like we know this game.
Wow. Leftovers, last one to pick up a god. They look in here for a solo laner to go against Bellona, and it's going to be Ravana, which we've seen Nika go to a couple of times already this season.
Yeah, that's his second go-to pick. With Bellona off the table, Ravana is definitely his second preferred comfort pick, and we saw Scary D yesterday on Ravana, very dominant. We'll see if Nika can perform half as efficiently as Scary D, and then maybe...
It's a good point. I mean, Ravana seems to be having a very good time in the solo lane right now, very dominant in the laning phase. Teamfight transition, though, is always an interesting point of how far ahead he is. If he's not that far ahead, he won't be bringing up as much as Bellona. Let's find out in this game, though, how it's going to go.
Jifffy takes to the sky. Fnatic, they're just going to be focusing on the Phoenix as Jifffy rates Terror in the backline. Double tap. He's going to be able to get up for now, but a big snipe coming through. Zyrhoes finds 3 are over the top.
Pushing him forward though. Oh no, and Realzx from the sky. Only does work here as Realzx dives into the backline.
Into game we go, and honestly, Tolly, nothing really surprised me in picks and bans there whatsoever. It's kind of expected from both these teams.
Yeah, and so right off the bat, we do see Sol in the mid lane for Zyrhoes, and Realzx playing the Neith. Neith electing to go for the Transcendence to start having a lot of sustain. You know, you also have your Unravel for the sustain. You have the extra potions compared to Arkkyl. Playing the Hu Yi with Throwing Dagger, only having 3 potions available is going to hurt him.
Now, Neith, during the season with Throwing Dagger having the crit on it, we saw a lot of Neiths be picked up, but actually only had a 40% win ratio when she picked the throwing dagger. This, with the fact that we've seen Transcendence being available again without the crit available on the throwing dagger, Neith may become stronger again this meta, don't you think? Because of the extra power spikes with those amazing World Weavers.
Exactly. Transcendence sets you up better in the mid game, right? And as long as all you're doing is farming in the duel lane, why not pick up Transcendence anyway? Allow your World Weaver to do more damage in the mid lane or even in the solo lane potentially. So looking forward, the throwing dagger, I think it's going to favor Fnatic here in this situation because just the fact that they have more sustain. They might lose the early pressure in the first wave, but then second, third wave, as long as they keep trading, they'll out-sustain them.
The longer and longer it goes on in that lane as well, Neith can full clear with the Spirit Arrow. And you've also got Kumbhakarna. You can't underestimate the throwback damage that can come out. He can pretty much full clear a wave. He can once he gets to rank 5. And that nice little clear at the start of the game, you can see how they've done that to make sure the Spirit Arrow hit multiple creeps. Keep an eye on the clear time from both of these two and see which duo lane gets to lane first. And it looks like we're going to see an advantage for leftovers here.
Unfortunately, Realzx misses the Spirit Arrow on the big Harpy, so that might actually slow him down. We do have leftovers already into the duo lane.
And that's really important for Ares as well, just to get ahead and get himself in position to be able to be aggressive if he needs to be. Badgah's going to be looking for that now. Grouping up those minions with the Searing Flesh will allow the throwing dagger to proc on multiples, and there's the chain. They're going aggressive straight away, looking for pressure onto Realzx. Great auto attacks coming out from Arkkyl there, just poking him down further. But the good news is he does have multiple potions here.
Yeah, imagine he went throwing dagger in this situation. He would only have 3 potions to survive in the rest of the laning phase. It's not ideal for Neith to be in a spot with only 3 potions.
So we're chilling in the mid lane now. You'll see Fnatic did start the right-hand Harpies there and then do the blue buff. Just went back to the back Harpies there as well instead of farming up the wave, as the left Harpies did go the way of leftovers. So everything's pretty even, although leftovers will pick up those fire imps. Are they as valuable? They're just there for farm, really.
No, it's definitely very valuable because you also take it away from the enemy solo laner. This situation, maniaKK can easily bully Nika, which he is doing in this situation, and if he rotated to imps, well, now they're gone, and that's something that he won't be able to farm.
I mean, it's going to do that. Now he's going to head over there and realize they are currently on cooldown, so unfortunately for him, not going to get any advantage there. Both balls still available for the solo laners right now, but they'll be looking for that later on. As in mid lane, aggression from Cherryo. Back to the jungle role once again, as we mentioned, and jungler playing a mid laner, and Scylla. I'm going to hate saying that so many times.
A lot of poke coming out of Zyrhoes' soul there. Cherryo already half health in the Batz, taking a lot of damage from that Stellar Burst.
No, we see with the 2 mid laners as well. Jungler here, he's gone with the Soulstone start as well as the Power Potion. Meanwhile, Zero's gone for the safer option with the Soulstone plus obviously working towards the Helm.
That's something that Zyrhoes does quite often. He'll lean more towards Jifffy, so he'll play a little bit back and want to allow Jifffy to make those aggressive plays and then follow
Talking about aggressive plays, the overhead kick was just used by Nika. He's not level 5 right now. Berserker Barrage will secure first blood, and Jifffy and maniaKK combine.
As a solo laner, you don't hardly expect a gank pre-level 5, as we do have BigMan taking a lot of damage, Realzx backflipping
BigMan will be okay.
Duo.
He's got his passive still as well, taking into account, so even though he got a little bit low there, he's got a health potion ticking away on himself. He's going to be play a little bit safe now, but once again, leftovers having a good time in this lane just because of the early advantage they got from getting there first.
Exactly. Getting there first is a big factor, but now if you look at the potion situation, the Hui has no more potions remaining. He just popped his last remaining health potion, so the second wave moving forward is going to be a little bit difficult. However, Leftovers is now playing very aggressive in Fnatic jungle, taking the duo boars away.
Oh, Thor's in the sky, though. He's going to come in straight away onto Arkkyl. Purification and Cherryo's ult was forced onto Jifffy. Jifffy still looking for the double tap. Didn't find it, though, in the pit, but there's a rotation from Zyrhoes. He's a little bit out of position here. Arkkyl jumps in his head, which forces Zyrhoes to disapparate, realizing jungler was on his way.
Good disengage from Zyrhoes, recognizing that Scylla was coming on top side, avoiding the root, not putting herself in a position to get picked there.
And then straight back to the mid lane again. Surprised we didn't see Jifffy go straight over to that left-hand side and look to pressure them, especially because of how aggressive that dual lane was being. Instead, he did his backs and then came over.
Jifffy recognized that they were getting pressured in the dual lane so hard and that the boards was about to be contested. Now, he might not have necessarily expected the Batz to be there, but he definitely knew that it was going to be contested, so he was ready for the counter gauge. And sometimes the counter gauge is more important than the engage. If he hit that double tap, that would have been a kill.
And the benefit of that now, because of that pressure, nobody actually dying there. It did make Arkkyl go back to base, however. Already comes back with boots too. No potions in his inventory either. Meanwhile, Realzx not had to base just yet. He's now out of potions completely, but he's got enough mana to continue farming for that Transcendence.
He's really close right now to Transcendence. If you look at the golden hand, he's sitting at about almost 1100. So after about 3 more waves, he'll get it.
Yep, but just under 1100, 1075 at the moment for him. So he just sits there patiently waiting, and Neith can pretty much full clear safely now as well, so not too much to worry about for Realzx.
Nothing too much to worry about at all. He also has the Unravel going forward. Arkkyl trying to zone out. He does have Ares around the corner. The Blink is available for Ares, but Ares did back to base. We do have Kumbhakarna
Blink, epic uppercut as well. The root going to land as well. No, it won't because the ult is in place with the leap. Jifffy off the mount with his ultimate to cut off the angle, but he will still get up the kill. And they caught Badgah back in. That's all that was.
That was really good play from Jifffy, utilizing his ultimate. Now, granted, he did miss, but he covered the option.
Yeah.
He was thinking that he would escape towards the jungle side, covered the option, got his second kill of the game, which is very important for a jungler to get it off to an early
And
start.
Thor as well.
Exactly.
Get him off to an early start. And the big talking point on that was the original engagement that you saw. So engagement coming out from Jifffy. He ganked left-hand side. Purification was used by Arkkyl. That was still on cooldown, and with Badgah backing, left him isolated and all alone.
It's an easy pick there with the Purification down. Surprisingly enough, Leftovers didn't go for the same mindset that Jifffy has. Good aggression coming out of Jifffy in the early game. Let's see how he'll transition and moving forward, though.
Genuine Zyrhoes in the mid lane. Still not gone back to base just yet. He's been comfortable. Still has a health potion to his name as well. I mean, obviously as well, Sol does have some extra health regen in her kit as well, which helps her out a little bit more. We'll go back here, probably for the full Legion helm we expect.
Yeah, 1900 gold in hand. Getting cancelled, however, by Cherryo, being very obnoxious here. Could have potentially ulted, forcing Purification. I believe the World Weaver was used. I heard the animation for it.
I'm not sure where it went off to, actually. I'm looking around the map, and I don't see who it actually hit onto with that World Weaver. It is on cooldown, so not going to be available just now. Then Zyrhoes has to save for that extra wave from mid, but now it's regression onto Realzx. Realzx does have Purification, uses it nicely in the lead to avoid the no escape.
Yeah, the Ares Blink was used, though, so now Realzx doesn't have to worry about the Ares Blink ulti, so his Purification will be up relatively soon.
Unfortunately, that root did not connect from BigManTingz. If that Groggy Strike connected, we may have seen a pick on to Badgah there, just because he didn't have an ultimate to try and defend himself.
Yeah, it's really good idea to aggress onto a Guardian that's just used their ultimate, especially against an Ares. We do have maniaKK being very aggressive in the solo lane. He just forced Nika back to base. Nika uses his teleport, and now maniaKK's teleport's up in 50 seconds, so he can use this cooldown to play aggressively in the Gold Fury, potentially moving forward.
And Nika at the moment, roughly about a level down over maniaKK and how this is going, and there's no real jungle for him to look for. Zyrhoes, obviously. Oh, Jifffy ganking mid lane there, a bit of pressure onto jungler. Not too much to write home about, but it's allowing Zyrhoes to look for these Harpies. Cherryo is around with the overhand smash, going to try and trade this one out. It looks like 1-for-1 there in that trade.
It's not a bad idea to, start the mid Harpies, and you're pulling it to the back of the circle, so if somebody does come around the corner, you can easily disengage. And now he did get a little bit low. Overhand smash wasn't securing it, but the monkey bounces does secure one. He enhands the other, trading 1-for-1.
Well, talking about builds as well, Zyrhoes didn't go for the Legion helm and then went for full penetration boots here early on. Is there anything you're looking for Fnatic now? They've got off to a very good start with these initial engagements. Do you want them to keep pushing this pace, or should they be just waiting on this?
Well, you have to somehow keep extending this lead one way or the other. The most obvious ones to do is mid Harpies, and then the red buff or the blue buff. Those are the two mini objectives. And then once you start controlling that side, you can transition that into Gold Fury once you have the vision control.
Well, red buff is available for them to try and take away from leftovers, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for that. Maybe they are, though, because BigManTingz still hovering around this area. Going to swing around and find it, as is Badgah there too. Zyrhoes on his way. Red buff forced to reset from leftovers. Blink initiation comes out from BigManTingz with the ultimate. There's the Stellar Burst follow-up. World Weaver as well, but Purification was nicely timed to avoid the stun. Badgah surrounded by 3 members now, but a lot was already used trying to pick Scylla.
And Jungler even used his ultimate for the movement speed bonus, afraiding that Jifffy would use his ultimate to potentially chase him down, but that wasn't available to him.
So in the end, a failed attempt. They didn't even get the red buff out of that either.
No, but they got the
defense.
Purification, they got the ultimate. That's a lot of cooldowns that Fnatic did get. And, Neith using her ultimate while still farming, building those Transcendence stacks, that's a win in Fnatic's book.
For sure, especially because now Jifffy has his ultimate available. If he recognizes jungler is in a position to gank, could look for it now with both, like you said, both those CCs being down.
Now we do have an aggressive rotation towards the solo lane onto Nika. Might be looking for the blue buff invade, but now they're leaving Gold Fury wide open.
Well, Jiffy's hanging back here because he's got his ultimate available, just going to recognize if he needs to, but closes in to make sure he soaks the experience and can be there with his team as well. So blue buff does go the way, and maniaKK can be a little bit late out of there, but a good wall from Jifffy should try and slow them down. Unfortunately, didn't connect with Badgah, but not much Badgah can do there.
The interesting thing about invades is how you disengage after an invade, which is very important. Sometimes you can get a clean invade, but you're not going to get a clean disengage after an invade. Fnatic recognizing that they didn't have to commit everybody into the blue buff getting surrounded. Only maniaKK was inside the blue buff. He got it. They disengaged beautifully. Thor was there in the back to secure it.
And you called it as well. You wait to see them try and look for invades and try and find potential little things to continue this aggression, this start that they've got to the game. They looked to the red. They didn't find anything other than Scylla's Purification and her ultimate, and then went straight to to the other side and did the same thing there. That time a little bit more successful with the invasion.
And now leftovers are going to be trying to look for a play on Cherryo's Batz. He needs to look for potential purification on the Soul, maybe on the Thor, because if you get the purification away from the Thor, that makes his engage off of his ulti a little bit trickier, because now you could disrupt him once he does come crashing down.
Well, blue buff going to be started up here by the jungler and support of Fnatic at the moment. maniaK's busy in the jungle, just being cheeky and being around. They're actually going to give that blue buff over to BigManTingz here.
Yeah, maniaKK already stole the enemy blue, so there's no reason not to share your own blue.
Hold that thought. Jiffy's in the sky, looking at the ult. Going to get onto 3 of them. Uppercut misses there, I believe, from BigManTingz. The Sentinel's away, does jungler. But there comes maniaKK with a big Eagles rally, and Badgah will be the first to fall to the bludgeon. Cherryo still around. Great wall comes out from Jifffy. Double tap just off the mark. maniaKK still pushing leftovers back in their own jungle.
And this is a very good win for Fnatic, getting a 1-0. They could potentially put pressure on the middle tower or elect to go for gold here. It looks like they're transitioning towards the dual lane side.
Yeah, look, well, the left harpies have just spawned as well, and you see Realzx has made the rotation too, but it doesn't look like going to go for the gold. 2 members going to be heading back to base once again. They're just going to take that win and spend that gold.
Slow and steady sometimes wins the race, and that's what Fnatic's very content at doing. Also, Realzx didn't want to give up that wave in the dual lane tower. That was very important.
This break as well, this week off, we had a bye week just now. Fnatic look a little bit more refreshed this week after looking at this performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jiffy's playing on fire, and this is something that you need to have coming out of your jungle. You need to have this kind of playmaking abilities. You know, in the solo lane level 4, usually solo lane is not ready for that. The dual lane, you got a bunch of purification down, you take advantage of it. And now with the blue buff invade, all these 3 things are adding up slowly and surely. At the 10.5 minute mark, they're up about 2,000 gold.
And the biggest talking point about Fnatic this year was probably Jifffy with his rotation to becoming the jungler for this team. Struggled at the early start of the season. He just didn't seem to find the pace of the SPL, or whether he was overly aggressive too much.
Sometimes his aggression was a little bit misguided, where he would go in with Fnatic, the rest of Fnatic being a little bit out of position, not able to counter his aggression. Yeah.
So now, though, it seems to be working out for him with 2-0 and 1, level 11. Still equal with Cherryo, which is credit to Cherryo. And that build coming out from Cherryo, a bit more defensive here.
Yeah, a lot of people have been playing around with the Void Shield specifically. It has a lot, like since it went from 15 physical aura to 20 debuff, it's very important to experiment with this, and a lot of players are not comfortable with that fact.
Well, we'll see if that works out for Cherryo. That means he's going to be able to stay in the fight a little bit longer and at least survive a little bit more of damage in these engagements at the beginning of this game. But Cherryo so far not managed to get himself a kill, not died either. At the moment, the mid laner and jungler fought leftovers, surviving for now.
Cherryo playing very aggressive, teleporting to his monkey bounces, trading a little bit of damage from the Stellar Burst as BigMan just dashes away from the Scylla. We do have another blue buff invade, however. maniaKK picking up the blue. Jifffy going to force the ulti, not wanting to get chained to death. He does get taken to the air.
And hopefully Jifffy stays in the sky, which he did, so he didn't get pulled back out after landing. BigManTingz already used the epic uppercut. Great blink from him, though. Presence of mind to realize that was available for him. Finno Evil in mid lane, though, onto Zyrhoes, and immediately he will use his purification to separate to disengage.
Trading the Batz ulti for the purification definitely favors Cherryo in this situation. Now he can look for the next time the ultimate is up. He's going to definitely look for Zyrhoes here.
Well, Jifffy's still hanging around the jungle here. He really wants his back harpies, which could have been a bit risky if leftovers would have spotted that one out. They didn't, however, and with Zyrhoes being relatively low in mid lane, he's sustaining up nicely thanks to his heal, as you could just see there. So he will be able to stick around for this wave, but it's a little bit of a power play opportunity for leftovers if they look towards that blue. Badgah is around here. Badgah blinks in looking for Jifffy, but Jifffy well aware of that fact, disengages nicely, gets a good wall off. Will Weaver coming in though, and Nika's there too. I don't think there's a whole lot we can see maniaKK do.
Yeah, Wingblade was procced from the Bellona shield bash. We do have a little bit of a chase. Jifffy was a little bit greedy. He got the back harpies. He stayed for the blue buff that was coming up. Ares recognized that the blue buff was coming up, looked for an aggressive play as the Thor was really low after the earlier blue buff invade. Unfortunately, the Thor hammer was just really spot on, so he couldn't find the necessary chains to secure the kill.
Well, at the moment with this, you know, the roster switch, so to say, the role switch, I should say, from leftovers, there's not been much to say about Cherryo and jungler. They've not made mistakes individually, really. They've both survived, but there's not been talking points. Is the action, you know, the rest of the team suffering, and we've not really seen much out of them.
Not much at all, as we do see BigMan counter warding on the Gold Fury side. They do have a little bit of a nice defensive ward as leftovers on their mid harpies. We do have more counter warding coming out of leftovers.
Still no Gold Fury attempted by either team just yet, but these wall coverage, you can see Jiffy's now over here with Realzx hiding in the jungle. Arkkyl won't be aware of this just yet. No blink available just yet as well for BigManTingz. And Arkkyl, why is that everybody's missing? plays it safe and just ricochets and walks away, but
something's fishy. He smells it around the corner. He uses the ricochet off the wall, not even wanting to in-hand the wave. He's like, nope, something's up.
I just want to tag these creeps, make sure I'm getting some experience, some gold out of it. I'm going to play it safe and wisely so, because Jiffy's still hanging around this area with Realzx looking for extra pressure on Arkkyl.
Especially when you have a Thor jungle that you always have to worry about. It can be coming from many different angles.
Well, they've got wall coverage once again on the Gold Fury leftovers, so it's at least one area that's good for them. maniaKK over in the solo lane, working towards Hide of the Urchin right now after finishing the breastplate of Valor as well, so his build's coming along nicely.
Having the Hide of the Urchin in this situation against Scylla is going to be very important. She has a lot of burst damage. She is going to elect to go for the Warlock side, so not as much burst damage as she would have opted for, let's say, Book of Thoth specifically, but it's still a good idea to spread out your defenses.
And is he going for that because, oh, hold that thought, this attempt from leftovers is perfect. They're going to get the Gold Fury for free. Great play from them. BigManTingz turns up. They will probably pick up Badgah here if they're lucky enough to. No, they will not. Badgah will get away as well. Maybe World Weaver being channeled. Badgah going to get dunked as well by Jifffy. It's a 1 for a Gold Fury. Leftovers for me came out on top.
It was a good mindset for Fnatic. They needed to get something in return for losing Gold Fury for free in that situation. Now they're going to look to put pressure. They have a 5v4 advantage. They're grouping up in the mid lane 4 members. We do have maniaKK here as well. So now it's 5 against 3.
Cherryo, though, is round the back. Has Fear no Weaver. We're going to push Realzx under the tower. Purification and Sanctuary use, I believe, there as well to keep himself alive. Spirit Arrow off the mark. Cherryo under pressure with the Eagles. Rally comes crashing on his head, as does the Bludgeon, as does the Disarm. One more hit will bring down Cherryo. maniaKK going in very deep for it, will get it, but can he get back out? Yes, he can.
Even if he didn't get back out there, he drew the rest of the team away from the tier 1 mid tower, which allowed Fnatic to secure the tower. So even if he traded 1 for 1, they get the mid tower.
They didn't get the tower, though.
Now.
They put the pressure on, but the team disengaged.
They could have elected to push that. I'm not sure why they elected to disengage from
Did they try and dive into support more than anything else, I guess?
They could have, but the better option would have been to secure the objective, allow maniaKK to do maniaKK things, well, soul laner things, but specifically maniaKK likes to dive. So get the kill, get the tower, get out.
Let's head to the graphs and see what impact this has made on the game so far. It's all been in Fnatic's favor, apart from that Gold Fury where you can see the gold did dip once again. It's relatively climbed once more after that little engagement afterwards, but the experience hasn't changed a footing.
And that's very important at the 60-minute mark to be 6,000 experience ahead. You see maniaKK 2 levels ahead, Jifffy 1 level ahead, Zyrhoes 1 level ahead, BigMan 2 levels ahead, and same levels for the Hunters.
How important is the supports getting those extra levels at this stage of the game? I mean, there's a point where it doesn't really matter anymore, but at this stage?
The base stats alone are pretty important to have. When you're 2 levels ahead of the support, those base stats do add up.
You can take an extra couple of shots in those fights and the engagements to begin with, and then you're not having to disengage as quick.
Especially when you're Kumbhakarna with your passive, you have to hit him multiple times.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. It does increase as time goes on. Once again, maniaKK tuning in with him, still 2 levels over, as we said, over Nika. Nika doing what he can in this lane, has breastplate of Valor, not bought any items since heading back to base, or has he even gone back to base? I'm not so sure after the Gold Fury at the moment, but good overhead kick to avoid the Bludgeon. But maniaKK just showing dominance in this lane.
Yeah, this is something that maniaKK is very known to do. He's not going to allow the enemy soul laner to freely hug his tower. He wants to push the wave under your tower and constantly put pressure on you.
Look at this pressure onto Realzx now. I'm not sure if he recognizes Cherryo was in the jungle as well. Badgah hung around there for a second with Cherryo, thinking about maybe going for the double blink combo over the wall was an option for them. Chose against it at the moment. Cherryo going to head back towards mid, but Kumbhakarna's waiting there with Zyrhoes, and they've got wall coverage, so they're going to know exactly where everybody is. Red buff available, and blinking for BigManTingz, going to force purification from jungler and the Sentinel too. Badgah could only really watch there from the sideline and bolster defenses.
That was a great initiation for BigMan, forcing the early purification. Going to get poked out by Badgah, but that's fine. He elected not to use his ultimate there, fear of like, if BigMan's ultimate was down, then he would get counter-ultied by Badgah. So he's holding on to that for that specific reason.
And not only that, if you try and blink initiate with your yawn and follow it with the ultimate, most people will purify that too, so you got to wait for those extra 2 seconds. So wisely done. Jungler on that Scylla only now has his ultimate to defend himself for the time being, as well as Sanctuary. So just keep an eye out for maybe Jifffy crashing in here potentially onto him again in the mid.
Especially if he's been playing the way he's been playing earlier on, they have to respect his presence throughout the map. They had a lot of duo lane wards around the map. They tried to look for something onto Realzx, they couldn't quite find it.
Blink initiation from Badgah, ultimate used, Crush comes out, Zyrhoes avoids all that damage though, and the Fear no Evil, but Jiffy's going to crash into jungler, forcing the Sanctuary. The root does come out, forcing jungler to ult, afraid of BigManTingz going in with the epic uppercut, which was on cooldown, but around the back comes maniaKK, Eagles rally on Scylla's head, but Sentinel's up again to disengage. The disarm is good from the Scourge, but still Jifffy going in with the Berserker Barrage will clean up, but can he get away from the danger? Looks like he should be good, unless Nika can chase him down, jumps to the hammer, continuing the chase. The route is fantastic, the Sanctuary is better. maniaKK trying to slow him down. The wall will buy him enough time to get away, and the body block from maniaKK.
Body block is so good. Whenever you can utilize that to your advantage, that goes a mile. Now, BigMan used his ultimate earlier on, and exactly at the same time, Jungler popped his Scylla ultimate, so the interaction countered each other. So we do have Hui ultimate being used, trying to deter Fnatic from pushing the tier 1 mid tower.
They'll defend the tower, but it looks like BigManTingz will be a casualty for that. Sleepy time is in order, my friend, and he will fall down for the first death on leftovers. Zyrhoes under pressure from Badgah, but Disapparate will get him away from the danger.
And that's not the worst thing in the world when your support is the first casualty on your side of the team, especially when you're already up about 2,000 gold, 19-minute mark. You're up a lot of experience as well.
And credit to Arkkyl, really. He was 3v1 in that defense there, and the wiseness of actually just dropping the ultimate to try and create his own, stop them trying to siege that tower. He does keep it standing for now, but it is on its last legs.
It's very important to try to stall as long as you can. When you're behind and you have a little bit of a deficit, when you can stall, like the way the Hui did, that goes a long way.
It does, especially because that extra gold will just continue to escalate things. We're approaching 20 minutes now. One Gold Fury already went the way of leftovers, and it looks like they're heading that way once again. This time round, though, I'm pretty sure Fnatic are aware of it, and so are leftovers, so they're setting up for a gank attempt on Zyrhoes here, who got rooted, has the Sanctuary. Jiffy's going to the sky, though, going to look to dunk down, as Cherryo's going to get hold by the Whirlweaver, but blocked by Badgah. Meanwhile, on the backside, maniaKK dunks in with the Eagles rally after a good rotation from him. The fight washes, however.
Yeah, good counter engage from Jifffy, recognizing that Zyrhoes was in trouble. He took to the skies. However, better recognition from leftovers, knowing that Jifffy was in the sky, and they instantly disengaged.
Good play from both teams there. Gold Fury does still stand there. War coverage leftovers favor for a second as BigManTingz now rotates over to clear that out. No, he doesn't. He blink, gets the yawn off onto Nika, but doesn't focus on him. He's actually looking at Badgah, who's now in the sky with the epic uppercut. maniaKK with the bludgeon, the damage coming out. maniaKK still giving chase, looking for the pick on Badgah, his former teammate, and in the end he has to give up the chase as they look towards Cherryo, forced out of the fight as well. But still in the jungle, Fnatic aggressive. There's buffs available for them, but they're looking for Arkkyl. Double tap does connect, forcing the Suns. This is a good play from leftovers. Sorry, not from leftovers, from Fnatic, because they're disengaging as they do this.
Fnatic is playing very aggressive in leftovers jungle, and what they're doing is they're poking people out one at a time. They forced out the Ares, they forced out the Hui, and now they're going to set their sights into the Gold Fury, recognizing there's only 2 members remaining for leftovers to be able to contest this. As we do have Nika using his sprint in, he does get rooted, use the immunity frame. Real's forced to back up away.
But it buys time for the team to come in. Badgah, no escape, only hitting onto Jifffy. Jifffy going up into the sky, using that for the frames. Meanwhile, the BigManTingz surrounded by members. He will be another death for his team. Fear No Evil comes out from Cherryo, isolating Zyrhoes into a wall. Arkkyl gets credit for the kill. I'm a monster. Did not find that one, but it does set leftovers up for the second Gold Fury now.
And like I mentioned before, sometimes the engage is good, but the counter engage is even better. They did have Nika go in aggressively. The Fnatic's mindset was to bait somebody in and get a pick. They didn't really want to commit to Gold Fury, but Nika in this situation is very tanky.
maniaKK and Jifffy are both here at the Gold Fury. Gold Fury still healthy enough for the time here, but Jifffy a little bit low on health. Eagles rally comes down as well, crashing in. Now both the boys of Fnatic are running. Jifffy realizes he's going to fall down, so uses the Berserker Barrage for damage, but it does buy time to maniaKK to get away.
Yes. Real's, on the other hand, a little bit trouble as we do have Nika jumping over the wall with his ultimate. Leftovers going to start up the Gold Fury, recognizing that they have a 5v3 power play, 22-minute mark, nobody in position. Real's going to try to do something.
This time around, there's no teleports available this time for Fnatic to try and defend. They're going to have to give this one up. Let's go to the graphs, see the impact that's made on the game, because now Gold lead for the first time. And look at the experience change as well. Leftovers climbing their way back in.
As good as it is to play individually really well, it's more important to play as a team cohesive unit better. And in this situation, leftovers just recognized that they were behind, but they didn't let that fall to them. They stalled out the tier 1 mid tower. Look how low it is. They defended that tower 2 or 3 times already in the game. They didn't allow the Gold Fury to be taken. They contested very well, despite getting poked out and not being in a position. 2 members is all it took for leftovers to stop Fnatic and then have the rest of them just start flooding in and getting a pick.
I really think that the team fight's gone Fnatic's way every single time, pretty much. Then it's the Gold Furies that have gone the way of leftovers, which have allowed them back in this game.
That's very important. When you're winning these objectives, that's what win games. Kills are nice, objectives are better.
Indeed, 23 minutes in now, and Badgah in a pretty good position with his team as well. And talking about Badgah and the team, obviously they've made this role switch, which I keep bringing up, but the mentality of, I guess, Cherryo, he's very talkative on the comms. Is that why we may have seen him go back to the jungle here for his, maybe shot calling?
That's very important to have a vocal jungler. You either want to have your support or your jungler to make these aggressive calls, as we do see in Engage.
Just blinked in, but gets hit by the Fear No Evil at the same time. Jungler going to try and Sentinel away to safety. Whirlweaver coming out as well, going to be sanctuaried. Arkkyl with a rotation is going to force BigManTingz back as well. The fight washes over the right-hand Harpies.
That's a pretty big contested fight for a 23-minute mark right side Harpies. Normally you don't see this, but that's how much these two teams really want to battle over every single objective, that they'll throw everything just for right side mid Harpies.
You can see the battle over the ball there as Nika getting beat down as he heads back towards his tower. Once again, maniaKK trying to keep the pressure on. And since we've seen these 3 Hide of the Urchins come online for Fnatic, we've not seen many stacks evolve from it since.
Finally, this tier 1 mid tower is going to get pressured and taken down. 24-minute mark for Fnatic. We do have a little bit of a chase as Cherryo does blink in.
He's not got his backflip anymore, but no escape from Badgah. He's only going to hit Tingz, who's going to get pulled all the way back into danger. Jifffy on the back. He's going to put pressure on Jungler, who was aware of it, and you Sentinels away. Jifffy hit the wall with his hammer. Couldn't teleport through in time. Real's trying to return it back onto Cherryo, though, as they run through the jungle looking for the monkey. The monkey, though, overhand smash, returns back to Badgah, who's leading the way. Supernova's going to force Cherryo back once more. They're still chasing in the leftovers as a group. 2 chains from Badgah, 3rd one off the mark, but maybe Zyrhoes in trouble here. Disapparate looks like he's on cooldown, but now leftovers have a chance to siege tier 1.
Yet again, the counter engage has provided to be very strong. We do have Realzx picking off Cherryo. Very nicely done.
Cherryo jumped to his monkey there to avoid the Eagles rally. Unfortunately, Realzx was well aware of that, ends up getting picked up because of it. But the tier 1 tower does fall in mid lane for leftovers, which evens things up there.
Yeah, trading junglers 1-for-1, trading towers mid 1-for-1 here. Definitely favoring both teams. Nothing much too given away.
Bit of a patient moment now because both teams are like, well, we just did everything we could. We lose a lot for that engagement. Let's just go back to continue farming. But it looks like Fnatic, they want this tower on the right-hand side. And Badgah, who came to defend with that full minion wave, is going to get hit by a Whirlweaver too. Bludgeon going to come out, but Badgah very tanky. You saw him use bolster defenses. Ultimate now used by BigManTingz. But now that Nika's turned up, I'm not sure they're going to be able to find the pick or the tower. Arkkyl on his way as well. And the reinforcements from from Fnatic are close by. You can see Jifffy is around this area, but I don't think they'll look for anything. Maybe Arkkyl, though. He's a little bit out of position on his own there as he gets hit by the double tap, leaping away. maniaKK still trying to keep pressure in this lane.
Tower was not low enough for them to really commit under that kill because it's about 25%. They didn't have a minion wave there to negate the backdoor protections, especially when you have a soul lane or a support. That's not going to do a lot of damage to the tower.
So a bit of a switcheroo here. You see Arkkyl come over to help support the solo lane, which means that Jungler, played by Scylla, played by Jungler, is over on the left-hand side defending against Realzx. And now, well, he could be in a bit of trouble here because Jiffy's come over, Zyrhoes is on his way, and nobody else recognizes it yet. Jungler in an awkward position, going to get hit by the double tap. Spirit Arrow off the mark. Actually, I'm not sure if it was because Purification was used at the same time.
We do have a teleport coming out of Nika, looking to possibly catch a kill. Jifffy going to take it to the sky right as the Batz ultimate.
But he's going to jump to it. Cherryo jump to the monkey. He doesn't manage to get the final hit, though. That was such a good play, and Jifffy didn't recognize it at the time. Zyrhoes now under pressure. Disapparate is not available. He's getting pulled in. Badgah will get credit for the kill. maniaKK is here against 5 with BigManTingz, looking for Eagles rally on 3 members. Realzx in support. Good sanctuary from Arkkyl. Epic uppercut from BigManTingz. Will secure 1 as he do knock Nika to the sky, but the sun's rained down. Force Fnatic back for a moment, but the sprint's been popped. They're going to look at continue chasing this one in. Throwback is good. maniaKK going to get the bludgeon off one more time. Doesn't find its mark, though. They were looking at Jungler, but Jungler gets away with a Sentinel. Yawn from BigManTingz. They're not going to find much more here. Realzx is in a bit of trouble.
Fnatic is not done with this. They still have the Whirlweaver available if they want to chase. They do have a lot of members from leftover backing to base. This tier 1 tower in the dual lane is going to get a lot of pressure. Now, with the exception of soul lane, you do have the Hunter to put pressure. However, they're going to take the win, the fact that they back. They did lose 1-for-1, so another bit of a wash.
I think it's also because Golfy is just spawning, and if they try and do that now, you'll see leftovers come all the way back with full health, full mana to contest it, and it could be a bit of an issue. So instead, they're going to head back as well to make sure they both contest. That play from Cherryo, though. Like, he threw the monkey. He knew if Jifffy lands, he could jump straight to him, and he did it. It was like, wow.
Yeah, I believe that Jifffy could have been a little bit more patient with his ultimate. I'm not sure if he recognized the fact that he got hit by the monkey bounce before he landed.
Oh, like it didn't bounce to anybody else either because there was nobody around. So fortunate play, but leftovers really went on the aggressive there once again. Let's head to the graphs one more time. We'll see gold is still ever so slightly in favor of leftovers. Experience in favor of Fnatic. for all intensive purposes, this is an even game.
Yeah, pretty much. 27 minute mark, being up 2,000 experience is next to nothing. Nika's about to hit level 20. maniaK's been level 20 for quite a while, so he's catching up. We do have ward control vision for leftovers around the Gold Fury side of things as Big Man tries to sweep around the corner.
Is this a moment in the game where it's a bit of an inexperience from the new players to the SPL this year with like not knowing the later stages, mid-late stages of the game now? Because it looks like there's a few mistakes starting to happen here from mainly the newer players.
It's mainly about the shot calling and how well you execute that strategy of whatever the call was.
What the call was.
Exactly. And in this situation, Jifffy is going in. Sometimes he's getting punished, but then on the flip side, Cherryo's getting punished as well. It's been constantly these one-for-ones. They got mid-tower, they lose one, and then Leftovers comes back with a mid-tower and lose one. Same situation in the dual lane. Jifffy goes in, he dies, however, Cherryo dies in response, so it's another wash.
Well, ward wars have started in the jungle. They're both heading to the left-hand side, both realizing Gold Fury important. Leftovers with 4 members around here looking to pressure this tier 1 tower, but look at this round the back. maniaKK going to put some poke pressure onto jungler who needs help and get some in the form of Arkkyl. Weaver going to connect on to jungler as well, forcing back, and the I'm a Monster. Big important factor there, as well as purification from jungler. This fight so far is very good for Fnatic. Jifffy jumps in with the ultimate, going to force them all back even further. Fnatic pushing on once again. They've got to be careful. No escape is used, but unfortunately, Badgah off the mark.
Yeah, that was a huge ultimate whiff there by Badgah. Now, the fact that they forced the Scylla out early in this team fight allows Fnatic to remain very aggressive, hold out there as Realzx gets poked out really heavily, getting stuck on by Nika.
And now he's going to backflip, but now Badgah blinks in, but a wall from Jifffy will block him getting closer. The chains were off the mark. maniaKK back in the action, keeping the back line at bay. Front line now trying to force back from leftovers. Uppercut from Fnatic comes out from BigManTingz, but it's not enough to find a kill. Overhand smash, and Cherryo blinks in. Nika gets zone one more time for BigManTingz. Zyrhoes on the front here, going to get a good stellar burst, but not enough for anyone to fall back.
Teams are just poking each other out. So we do have maniaKK, Eagles rally as the rest of Fnatic does get this tier 1 tower in the dual lane. The disengage has to start now because Gold Fury is left wide open if they don't back in time.
And Realzx actually did go back to base during that engagement, which was a wise call from him. He got poked out heavily. He'll be back for full health if he needs to, and he's actually going to start the Gold Fury's leftovers. Still trying to work out whether they want to base or they want to contest a Gold Fury. They expect this is going on. Nika teleports back in.
Nika teleporting in, does catch a root onto Zyrhoes. He has to watch out as he uses his third ability for escape. Jifffy using his purification. Nice double root coming out of Realzx.
It was a good situation. Now Realzx just creating a zone for his team, but the thing is he can't do the Gold Fury on his own. Got to be careful of Cherryo. Going to trade out with Cherryo. Get hit by the Fear No Evil. The crit came through as well. Another one on top of that. Ultimate from Nika going to continue chase. Supernova from Zero saves the day though. Realzx took a lot of poke there when realistically he shouldn't. Did he need to be in that position? He was poking, but he didn't have anything available to defend himself.
He didn't have his defensive abilities to trade with the Hunbats in that situation, but he trusted his team to bail him out if he got in a sticky situation. That's exactly what happened. Zyrhoes was around the corner, used his ultimate to zone Nika back in, and that's kind of what happened when maniaKK went into jungler earlier on in the duel lane. They used ultimates on him, trying to disengage.
So no Gold Fury taken again. Still 2 of those in favor of leftovers, which has helped tie this game up a little bit. Objective control in terms of towers at the moment. It's just that one on the left-hand side that went down recently. Mid lane traded out evenly, so only tier 2 towers remaining there. Full builds are starting to be reached for most players now. It's going to start to get to that point.
Hunbats with Jotun's Wrath and Deathbreaker going to be chunking quite heavily. I believe he got about a 350 crit on the Neith earlier on, and that's a lot of damage at this stage of the game. It's only going to increase too, because he only has 4 items online right now.
You said it yesterday, ABC, always be clear, and that's what maniaKK was doing. He stole away the blue, still did the imps on his disengage, but BigManTingz, awkward position, has to ult to get himself an opportunity to get away. The bulwark helping him out there with the shield as well as he disengages, but still Cherryo going in, Fear No Evil. They're really looking for this pick on BigManTingz, but Sleepy Time is here, and they're all going to collapse in to pick up the kill, but they may make a mistake if they do, because Eagles rally here. Badgah goes in on his own with the no escape. He's going to pull Jifffy into an I'm a Monster, and Arkkyl Suns will rain down for a double kill for Arkkyl. Triple kill for Arkkyl now. He may be able to find a 4th if this team keep going in. Nika creating a zone onto Realzx. Cherryo, overhand smash, will connect. Quadra kill for Arkkyl. He won't be able to find the penta though, because Zero says no.
It doesn't matter for the penta kill. Leftovers recognizes that quadra kill is good enough for them to go for Fire Giant. They could have played a lot of different strategies here. They could have went for the mid Phoenix, but no, they're going to elect to go straight to the Fire Giant. This is what their comfort strategy was. I believe it is Cherryo that's making this aggressive call, and I really like it coming out of Leftovers.
Yeah, this is an easy one as well. Zero still defending the tier 2. They're going to get this off. And consider the start of this game, totally. Like, everything didn't seem to be going their way at all. Jifffy got off to a flying start in this one. Found a couple of picks early on. Jungle control was all in their favor as well. The only time that Leftovers looked good was that first goal for you. Where did that come from? And then, look at this.
Yeah, and now Leftovers has Fire Giant 32-minute mark gold, a little bit in their advantage, but what's more important is the fact that they have Fire Giant. The experience is negated completely. With this Fire Giant, if I was Leftovers, I'd be looking a little bit towards either the solo or the duo side, trying to get these towers out, probably duo side, because if you get some picks on the duo lane, you could transition that into a Gold Fury as well.
Well, Cherryo got to the jungle. He's pretty much the shot caller for the major parts of this game, and it has been even when he was playing mid lane. 0-3 does not do him credit, but when you see the 10 at the end and you see how many kills Leftovers have had, it shows how involved in this game he's actually been in making these plays happen.
Yeah, he's, like I said, he's always finding the trade opportunities. Whenever Jifffy goes in, Cherryo makes sure that he's on the counter end of that. He trades himself 1-for-1, which is fine, because if jungler dies, that's worse than if Cherryo dies.
Especially with jungle being Thor as well, and obviously so with Jifffy dies, he's going to get a little bit more of an advantage because Jifffy was ahead in kills as well at one point. But now they get the Gold Fury. They're going to siege down the left-hand side here, looking for the Tier 1. Right-hand side, however, bit of a counterplay from Fnatic coming out here. They're looking at the Tier 2 tower, but Nika's there for defense to deal with that one. Cherryo going to be in the jungle here around the area of the Tier 2 tower. Zyrhoes recognize it, which means they have to give up Tier 1 for free. Reinforcements for Fnatic have arrived to defend the Tier 2, however.
This is a good idea for Fnatic to try to put pressure in the solo lane tower because they recognize they wouldn't be able to defend the duo side. And whenever the enemy has Fire Giant, you want to try to stretch them thin so that way they don't full 5-man commit onto you, getting kills and then getting more objectives from there.
Well, Tier 1, Tier 2 tower on the left goes down. The red buff also taken by Leftovers there. Fear No Evil onto the mid lane, onto maniaKK. And maniaKK under a lot of pressure. Will get hit by that no escape, which will pull him all the way back in. maniaKK falls down. He made a rotation from solo to mid lane to farm a little bit. And the rotation from Leftovers was just too good from left to middle.
Despite maniaKK dying here, he forced out 3 ultimates coming out of Leftovers. So this might not be the hardest defense in the world. They have to give up Tier 2 tower, but they could potentially defend this middle Phoenix with those ultimates down. No escape is down. The Hui ultimate's down. Fear No Evil is down. Those are 3 big cooldowns down.
I'm a Monster, though, is available, and the way Arkkyl's playing right now with that quadra kill, keep an eye on him. They're going to go in on Realzx, which forces the backflip. BigManTingz off the mark with his ultimate. Dunk does come in from Jifffy, but Jifffy eats more than he wants to, and a Monster comes out, but Sanctuary will keep him alive. He jumps to his hammer to disengage. On the back, Cherryo has to get out himself, but they get what they came for realistically in the Phoenix.
They did get the Phoenix indeed. They threw out the Ama Monster on the Sanctuary Thor. Good job baiting that out during the Sanctuary, not allowing the rest of your teammates to get hit. Unfortunately, they weren't able to defend the middle Phoenix, but at least they tried. They felt comfortable recognizing that those 3 ultimates were down, and they made the play to attempt to defend it.
So now the Fire Giant should be starting to wear off on this team as well very soon. They've probably got time for the Tier 2 time right, more than likely, before anything else.
They have about 1 more minute remaining on their Fire Giant.
So you go left Phoenix or do you go middle, to right tower?
I would go for around the right tower because you want to have ward vision control around Fire Giant, and you don't want to overextend yourself in the dual lane side as Fire Giant is respawning. You got the middle Phoenix, which is a good start to your first Fire Giant. Now, if you can get another advantage and get your second Fire Giant, that second Fire Giant is going to be the way you close out the game.
Well, you're calling it. They're going down the right-hand side now. Lots of wards in that inventory. All sentries for the boys of Leftovers now. They're going to be heading straight down for the Tier 1 first of all to pick that one up for an extra 100 gold each into those coffers and then head through the jungle as well. And down Tier 2 just to ward things up. You can see where Cherryo and Jungler are there, just warding up as they go.
So they still have 20 seconds on Fire Giant. If I was Leftovers, I'd be looking for a little bit of poke on this tower. Look for maybe somebody out of position. Maybe Jiffy's going to overextend again, and they can find an easy, clean pick. The way they overcommit with the Batz ultimate and Hui ultimate is just a lot of circles on top of each other, and this is something that Leftovers is really strong in.
A lot of damage coming out from Arkkyl there. You can see the pressure they put onto maniaKK. Forces above. Once again, no escape on the mark from Badgah. Will pull some embers in. Realzx backflips away from the danger of Nika. Everybody collapses back from Fnatic, but there's the Fear No Evil engagement as well as we tune in with Arkkyl still going in, looking for the damage. Great root crush combination coming out there as well from Jungler on that Scylla.
That was a huge win for Leftovers because now they got the 2 towers. They have the vision control around Fire Giant. They can back a little bit, get healthy Fire Giants respawning in about 30 seconds. So they have a little bit of a window to back by and go back to Fire Giant.
We're kind of at a situation now as well where Fnatic have to all in this Fire Giant and pretty much take it to have their way back into this game now.
They just have to be careful about the mid lane because they do have fire minions flooding in, so they don't want their Titan taking any damage in return as they defend the Fire Giant. Granted, they don't want Leftovers getting the second Fire Giant because that is going to be the second way that Leftovers is going to be able to close out the game, but at the same time, you don't want your Titan taking damage.
Well, maniaKK got some war control down there in the Fire Giant pit, but with all members of Leftovers streaming in, that won't be long before that changes. Cherryo going to clear one out near those right-hand Harpies on that side as well. Jifffy in the jungle, Fire Giant started. Jifffy does have his ultimate available. Keep an eye out for him having to go in. BigManTingz will blink early to try and get through. Yawns Badgah to try and close the gap a little bit more, but he's taking a lot of damage already. Uppercuts, he buys some time for his team. Sleepy is there. Sleepy is down. Now Real's being collapsed on. Backflips away, but immediately Nika ults in, chasing onto Real, slowing him down, pinning him in place, punching him in the face over and over again as the searing flesh from Badgah rains. I'm a monster has been used. I'm a monster connects for one. It connects for two and allows Arkkyl to go unstoppable. Surrender vote begins, and Fnatic look like they may lose this game.
That was a good idea that Fnatic had. They had Jifffy and maniaKK dive the backline after the Kumbhakarna died early on, Realzx died early on. They still tried to get some return kills. Unfortunately, with the I'm a monster connecting on those two members, it didn't allow for any return kills. Leftovers is going to be able to close this game out. First game of the set, going to Leftovers. Really nice way to start it off.
A good performance from them, honestly. The start didn't look too hopeful for these boys, especially with the performance just lately. I mean, they were sat in 6th position, Fnatic in the 5th place position coming into this one. What a great play, though. I love the turnaround.
It was a very good turnaround because Jifffy controlled the pace of the game early on, getting those 2 early picks in the solo lane, level 4 and level 7 in the duo lane, but he couldn't really transition that objectively with the team positioning around him Gold Fury-wise.
And talk about Arkkyl a little bit as well. Arkkyl during that first game, he had a pretty good game towards the end. We saw the quadra kill that he managed to pick up for himself, but in the laning phase he struggled because Jifffy was over there all the time. They found him once or twice, but still managed to make an impact in those team fights.
The global pressure from Jifffy definitely very scary for Arkkyl. There was even times when he would play very carefully in the laning phase, not even auto-attacking the wave, just using ricochet off the wall and then backing off.
So wise positioning coming out from him as well. Can Leftovers, do you think Leftovers can do the same in game 2?
Absolutely. They don't care about the early game if they're going to play this well objectively.
Let's go.